Good evening, everybody. This is Kevin Christian, and welcome to my YouTube channel. So I'm here with Greg from Georgia. He's a targeted individual going through the same thing that I'm going through. So how's it going, man?
It's going all right enough. Sitting here with my wife.
Right. Um, so, yeah, I'm just curious. Does your wife experience the same thing?
I'm assuming that she's being monitored, but she's not being stalked really.
Right.
That's just on me.
Okay. Yeah. Typically, if you're on remote neural monitoring, then whoever's around you and whoever you come in contact with, if they're any kind of significance to you or your life, then these gang stalkers are going to put them on remote neural monitoring too. So I would say 99.999% that she is definitely on remote neural monitoring. And also, I would say this, that since you're being targeted, then there's a high probability that she won't be targeted, because that would give you credibility.
Right.
Right.
I
So
assume kind of the same thing after so long of doing this and figuring out, watching a lot of your videos, figuring out how this stuff works, what was really going on. Like I mentioned to you before, I've already been through the quote-unquote wig out phase where you're assuming that people are after you, or it's either law enforcement or government or some kind of deal like that. They kind of get all their cards on the table a little quick, in my opinion, for that one, because now that I know that what everything actually is, it's affecting me less. It's
right.
still a pocket. Even somebody's voice 24/7. You know, they never shut up.
No,
But
they never shut up. They can do this in their sleep. That's why they never shut up, because when they're on when they're living as a broadcast, then their physical body isn't laying there in a sleep state. So they're literally doing this in their sleep half the time. They can be awake, just on mind control, and then they can know what you're thinking, and they can see what you see. But when they go full blown broadcast and live as a broadcast, their physical body is asleep. So that's what they do about half the time, and that's when they become the most unreasonable.
yeah, that makes sense. Like you mentioned before, if you don't have an actual sleep, and if you're just catatonic, your brain's not really doing the thing it needs to do. And that's just going to have, I think, the same effects as sleep deprivation.
Right. Well,
But
I agree. I don't think that it's completely the same, but I think that it will have a deterioration over time. I think that that their mind needs to dream and rest, and not have to function full time. And there was a guy that got on my channel back in June of 2017, a guy named Ricky, and he got on my channel, and I could tell that he was brand new to this. So that I think they had just given him his neural monitoring and made him one of the gang stalkers, and I could tell that he was brand new to it, because whenever he would be on broadcast, he really didn't know how to act. And I think that they have to learn over time how to act, how to function in a normal way as a sleeping human. Because if you can think about how your dreams are, they really, a lot of times dreams don't make much sense. You can be somewhere, but it's not really that place, but it is in your dream, and then all of a sudden you can be somewhere else, and different things can happen. But it's strange, and I think that they experience a lot of that, where they have to learn how to be coherent in a sleep state.
that makes sense.
Yeah. So do they?
Um,
Go ahead.
um, I was going to give a rundown of like my whole wig out phase, really, because that's an important part of all this.
All
We
right.
were living in a house with many or several other housemates. It was in a group home situation where you share a bathroom and you get a room, and that's what you're paying your rent for.
Right.
We used 3 to 4 different housemates' voices, my landlord's voice, and a voice of somebody that I've known for between 8 and 9 years. And they're still claiming that particular person that I've known for 8, 9 years is involved. They kind of gave up using the housemates' voices once we moved. Thankfully, we're in a regular house now, like a normal person.
Right.
But they were heavy with using the voices pretty much up until we moved. But there was a week out phase where I actually wound up thinking that maybe I am going crazy, like how a lot of people have. And I was in a center for about a week over Christmas, actually. And of course, it made no difference. Looking back on it, they were actually messing with me while I was in this place as well. They were just using different voices, thinking that maybe I'm hearing somebody down the hallway, for example.
Right.
So as far as the outside world is concerned, that already kind of harms my credibility. But then again, like I was thinking, maybe I'm actually like having some kind of psychotic break. Because who would assume that this kind of technology exists in the first place?
Right. Well, you pretty much would have to experience it to even think about it. Nobody, even people that haven't experienced it, they have a really tough time believing it.
Yeah, there's actually when I was speaking with a therapist, and I tried to bring up remote as just a concept, and I think she did one of those polite, "Oh, I'll look into this" kind of thing, but I don't think she really buys into it.
Right.
But one thing I thought is maybe if I can get some kind of note from a professional stating that maybe this is something to be looked into, then I'd have something to maybe make some kind of police report just to get the ball rolling, like pretty much how you're stuck to pretty much just making videos, document everything. I feel like that's what I'm going to wind up having to do.
Yeah, I mean, if a psychiatrist or a therapist gives you a note saying that remote neural monitoring is the possible cause of all of these things, that's like a mechanic saying that you have a warranty forever, that your car will never break down or something like that. It's just bad for business, because that's what business they're in. They're in the crazy business, and they need people to have these problems for their business. And sadly enough, I mean, that's just the fact about it. If they say, yeah, remote neural monitoring is happening, then we have to reevaluate the legal system. We have to reevaluate everything, and I don't think they're quite ready to do that. But we're pushing, though. We're making a push, and it's finally starting to come out into the open.
One thing about this is we've got really nowhere to go but up with the situation.
Right.
We've got nowhere to go but up.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, everybody seems to go through the same kind of phases of all this. You got your wig out phase, you got your I figured it out phase, and then there's just nowhere to go but up from there, really.
Right. Well, a lot of people, you were talking about how they use the voices of the people that you were living with and stuff like that, and people that live in any situation where there's a wall shared with other people on the other side of that wall. That's a gang stalker special right there. Their favorite thing to do then is to have those people on remote and to use their voices or to make it sound like those people are beating on the walls. So you always got neighbors blaming neighbors, and in most cases it's probably not the neighbors, but they can use broadcasts to really deceive people to think a lot of things. In my case, it's not really my neighbors, but it is people in my neighborhood. And the girl that put me on this that I was dating, she used to live over here too, and she gave a lot of these people neural monitoring. But over time, there's been a 100,000 instances and reasons for me to know for a fact that it is these people, and I'm certain that I know half of these people. But a lot of people think that it's their neighbors, when really gang stalkers can use all sorts of broadcast techniques to make you think all kinds of things.
See, I really wish I had any kind of actual clue to know who was actually doing this.
Right.
As far as I know, I was just discovered at random, really, because they claim that this person that I know or have known for 8 or 9 years, they claim they're involved, but what doesn't make sense about them saying that is the fact that why would they admit that he's involved so blatantly? Because from day one, they've tried to act like he was involved.
I don't know. I mean, it's possible, but they are braggers. They like to brag about stuff, and they like to try to get at you, emotionally. They want an emotional rise out of you. But there is a huge chance that it is somebody that you know or that you've been around. That's almost always the case with everybody. Most people find out it's their ex or something like that. And it's unbelievable to find out. A lot of people find out that it's, their husband or wife that they've been with for 10 years, and you know, it was my ex that did this to me, and you know, the exes are a good place to start suspecting in a lot of cases.
Yeah, I like to think that none of them are smart enough to pull off this kind of thing, but like you've seen before, you don't have to be that smart really to get this ball rolling with the remote neural monitor.
No, you just have to have somebody that gives you the access. You know, this girl that put me on, she's giving it to a whole bunch of village idiots, and then a whole bunch of little boys around here. I got 14, 15-year-old boys running around here with remote neural monitoring, and then you know, 60-year-old village idiots running around here, and for the most part, these people are drug addicts and just addicts in general, because to be a gang stalker, you would just about need to be an addict, because they become addicted to being connected to somebody else's mind and having that thought process into their mind. So it's like almost like a drug. And the people that have neural monitoring that don't become gang stalkers, that would be the non-addict people that think for themselves. So it's not everybody that has this is a gang stalker, but you know, the degenerate addict ones are the gang stalkers.
Those are the people who are on 24/7.
Yeah, they don't get off. And there's been quite a few people that have come and go on my channel, but there's also been some that came on my channel, and that's it. They've been here ever since.
Well, it just goes to show they don't have much of a life outside of monitoring people.
Right.
That's one thing I've been repeating to the people who are messing with me is you must not have much of a life if you're trying to have mine all day long.
No, you are their life. You are their life. They love the way you think.
Literally all day, what they do is, if I've actually had any broadcast attacks, I haven't witnessed any holograms as of yet.
Right.
I'm very thankful that my wife, that at least I have one person around me in my life that believes what I'm going through. That's a big help right there.
That's extremely important. It really is.
Because I have that person, they try to use her, because it's mostly verbal harassment, is mostly what they do to me.
Right.
All day long, it's, oh, we're going to get stuff. We have a scooter, and that's how we get around. That's how we get her to work. I get to work, etc. Like, oh, we're going to get your scooter stolen, or we're going to blah, blah, blah. We're going to this, that. The same set of lies over and over that I know isn't true, but they're just going to still say the same thing just to be antagonistic.
Well, they want to terrorize you. They want to make you have to worry yourself to death all the time, and it's for their live streams. They're doing live streams of your life, and that's what it's all about. That's how they make money. They don't have a job. And you know, when I left this morning to go to work, I did my routine. You know, I turned on my camera. I said, okay, so you know, here's my laptop, and here's this and that, and you know, here's me turning on my alarm system and locking all my doors, and gang stalker Marcus is threatening to break in my. And I got hundreds and hundreds of these videos. I got all these external hard drives I just fill up all the time, and because you have to take all these precautions that normal people don't have to take.
That's right. I mean, it does kind of worry me the fact that I know that she's most likely on monitoring, but there's still certain lines they can't cross without giving themselves away. You know, like even if you know somebody's logging in for their bank, you know how people have apps and, you know, log in with an email to check your bank account and whatnot.
Right.
If they do anything with that, I kind of wish they would.
Yeah.
Because that's instantly traceable.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Stupid, but I don't think they're that stupid.
Yeah, they know the limitations. These ones that I deal with, they push the limits all the time and act pretty dumb, and it gives me a lot of evidence, and I've collected tons of evidence against them over the years. But you know, there is certain things they'll delete people off my Instagram and mess around with Facebook and stuff like that, and that's one of the biggest things they like to mess with is Instagram and Facebook. But you're right, when it comes to something like bank accounts, and banks don't play that shit. You know, a bank will get right down to the tracing that, and yeah, the banks aren't having that at all. So they haven't messed with my bank account ever.
Well, it's too easy to get jammed up that way. That's why people won't do that. They might be dumb, but there's only such a depth of stupidity that anyone can go to.
Right. Yeah. They have to try to limit themselves to doing things that they're not going to get caught doing, and definitely going in your bank account. But they, you know, if they wanted to, they could, you know, because they definitely, passwords don't mean much.
I don't mean anything with monitoring. But
Right. Yeah. And
they don't mean anything.
you know, there was something that I tried, because before I started to do YouTube, I was doing SoundCloud, where I was recording the artificial telepathy. I would use a phone and another phone, and on the cell phone I had a call record app, and I would call myself, and I would just call myself 24/7, and then, you know, all day every day I was going through these recordings and picking out little snippets where I could hear them, and I would put it on SoundCloud, and it would continue to get full because they only let you have 180 minutes, so I kept making more. So I ended up with like 58 SoundCloud accounts, and each one of them you had to have an email account to open it up. So, you know, so I had on my MacBook Pro, I had like 130 accounts, all what do you, Safari suggested passwords. Because I thought this, I was thinking, hey, if I don't know my password, then they don't know my password. So I would do Safari suggested and then just not look at it when I clicked on it. And then from then on, I could just log in without knowing the password from that particular browser on that device. So what ended up happening was they hacked the device and stole the whole keychain, and then it ended up crashing. And now I'm locked out of 130 accounts, and they're not.
Yeah, sometimes it goes like that. Sometimes you think you got the one step ahead and you're not, but that's all trial and error.
Yeah, it
That's all
is.
you can really do.
It is. It's difficult to try to figure out how to beat somebody that always knows your strategy. So, yeah, it's because they know what you're thinking. So it's you know, if you think about how you're going to beat them, then they know exactly what you're thinking. But
Right.
they still, though, they act pretty dumb. So they'll corner themselves eventually, and they do it all the time. Though they're going to corner themselves, and they're going to see it coming, but there's going to be nothing they can do about it, and it's going to be a checkmate.
Like else again, they kind of like already played all the cards on the table. There's nothing new really that they can do to me without giving themselves away. If they escalate anymore, it's done for them. If they do anything using the passwords, if they do anything to my Facebook, that's something that's trackable. If they do anything to our bank account, that's something that's trackable. All they really can do now is sit back and do what they've been doing for a few months now, straight 24/7, which is just talk shit. That's
Yeah,
what they do. They love to bring up my wife. They don't even really talk shit about me personally anymore because I stopped giving a damn what they were saying about me specifically. All day long, they try to say stuff about my wife
yeah,
because they know that's a person I care about. That's one of the few people in the world that I care about at this point. And that's all. That's the only bullet they have left in the chamber is to talk about her.
yeah. Well, you know, I would suggest that if you have two phones, or if you can get access to a landline, or even if you just can use like a automated service, even calling your voicemail. If you get a call record app, and I'll send you a screenshot of the one I use.
Yeah.
If you call, whatever you call, it's going to get recordings, and if you keep that device near you, it picks it up. It picks up the broadcast, because cellular and then this microwave broadcast, this EMF broadcast, they're close enough, so it interferes into that. And I've been able to get really clear ones on some occasions. Sometimes they're not that good, but sometimes it's so good. So that can help give you an insight on who it may be. And then editing photography could give you an insight possibly on who is responsible. But, you know, even if you know, there might not be much you can do, but there may be. So any information that is, you know, more than you had is probably better.
Yeah, any data gathered helps, in my opinion.
Right.
There's no such thing as over documentation.
Yep. Well, listen, man, I'm running out of time. So I appreciate you coming on, and I hope you'll come on again.
No problem, man. Thanks for doing what you're doing.
No problem, and we'll talk to you again soon. Everybody, Greg from Georgia.
All right, man. Have a good night.
All right, you too, man.